Welcome to the New to Wrestling podcast, where I, your host, Xavier Cruz, a lifelong wrestling fan, will take a lifelong friend through the action, the joys, and the drama of the world of professional wrestling. My co-host, Kelsey Silva, has been bitten by the wrestling bug, and I want to invite you to join us as I take her through the moments that made me a fan. So if you're new to wrestling and would like to get brought up to speed, or a fan who would like to relive some classic matches, promos, and segments through fresh eyes, join us as we embark on a journey through the Attitude Era and beyond. Welcome to the New to Wrestling podcast. Hello, and welcome to another edition of the New to Wrestling podcast. This week, we watched the July 15th, 1996 episode of Monday Night Raw. My name is Xavier Cruz. I'm joined by our co-host, as always, Kelsey Silva. How you doing today?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing great. All right. So this episode had Shawn Michaels versus Billy Gunn for the WWF Championship, Ahmed Johnson versus Bart Gunn for the Intercontinental Championship, as well as TL Hopper versus Mark Miro for just a match, just no championships involved, just for funsies. This episode had a lot happening, so we're just gonna dive right in. All right, so the first match that we saw was Ahmed Johnson versus Bart Gunn with Sonny for the Intercontinental Championship. What were your thoughts? What stood out to you? Just your impression of the match.
It was good. I don't know. It had good moments. It was slightly underwhelming for me. I don't know. Maybe because it's always the first match ends up being slightly, I guess because they're getting into the third match is usually the one that has the most shenanigans, which definitely. But I love Ahmed Johnson, and there were definitely some good moments, but for the most part, I was okay. And Sunny for me was the most where she just screaming at the same octave the whole time.
Right.
Which is her thing. I get it. And she had her little don't mess with Texas outfit on. It was probably my least favorite of the three, but
she gets a lot of screen time. Gets a ton of screen time. And
yes.
Understandably so if you're thinking about who the market is.
Right.
So I get it. But wow, was she extra in this episode?
So much.
And the camera just kept cutting from the match to her, which I mean, again, I understand why. But it's a little underwhelming when the manager is the bigger star over the wrestler that she is managing. Because right now at this time, Bart and Billy Gunn are the tag team champions. So them on their own should have kind of a draw. And I just them separately right now, not the most charismatic. So I mean, I get it. She is kind of the glue of the team and that sort of thing. But it was just a lot of her, and then a lot of King, Jerry the King Lawler just panting after her.
A lot of thirst. So thirsty. So thirsty.
So this is the last episode leading up to the In Your House international incident pay-per-view, which usually has a kind of a lot going on, because there's a lot to promote before a big pay-per-view. So I did want to point out something. There was a moment where Ahmed Johnson picked up Bart Gunn and straddled him on the ropes.
Yes. Okay. Yes. That was amazing.
Which was a whole mood. And you were freaking out. So the ropes are actually they're not the ropes you'd climb in PE. Circa.
Oh yeah.
They're steel cables.
Oh, they're worse. Oh, okay.
So
they're kind of bendy, so it's not that big of a deal. I was oh, okay, good. And then you're no, they're made of steel.
So when you were that just has to hurt, right? And I was I'm pretty sure that's just not fun. Yeah.
Because I was saying obviously no matter how much they go through that sequence, there's no preventing that from not tapping. It had to tap.
No, there's no
and
way.
That's I really thought you were gonna say it was softer but it's worse.
No, it's just worse.
Okay.
There's lots of you'll hear in lots of documentaries and things about wrestlers when they start what they call running the ropes, running back and forth, and where they their back goes into it, it like hurts. Like it's not like pleasant. And but obviously I think they get used to it. But they like I've heard like a few of them describe just like the bruises that come from just like the ropes themselves, like
That is
as their bodies
crazy.
are like adjusting to them. All right, so that was the first match. And then it was immediately followed by a promo from Shawn Michaels. And it was just pretty much like quintessential Shawn Michaels. Like it is the charisma, the earring, the like everything about that man is just so smooth.
Mm-hmm.
So what were your thoughts on that?
I get it. Like I so get it why he is like the
The
apex of
guy.
everyone's taste level. Like I just get it because like he's just like it's the costuming. I was literally like, who made that whole ensemble? It was like the vest matched the pants, the matched the hat, matched the earrings, like everything was on point. And he just is so smooth. Like he doesn't stammer, he doesn't stutter, he just is like he just has it. Like and you're just so engaged. Everything he and I was just like, I just get it. I totally get it.
And like you really understand like why he is like because by all like standards at this point, he's probably like the smallest world champion out there currently, but he's
Mm-hmm.
just so good at what he does on so many levels that like it's impossible. He's like impossible to ignore. Like
Yes.
you cannot just like see him and like the charisma that he just like oozes and not just be like, okay, like you know what I mean?
Right. It's like staring at the sun. Like it's just
It's
it's just like
very
wow.
bright. The star is
Yeah.
shining very bright.
Very bright.
Okay, so after we get into that promo, which is kind of hyping up the six-man tag that they've been talking about like throughout this whole episode, from it's can't Cornette's camp, Shawn Michaels, Ahmed Johnson, and Psycho Sid. So that was kind of the first promo on that. And then the second match we saw was Mark Miro versus the wrestling plumber TL Hopper, who I had no recollection of up until like this moment. Like,
No recollection.
no, I couldn't pick him out of a lineup if that was necessary.
Mm-mm.
But it like turned out to be like a like surprisingly good match. Like
Really good
he was a
match.
he's like a bigger dude, the plumber. But he really like brought a lot to it. And I also think like typically like people who are kind of in the style of like Mark Miro, who are kind of like very quick, do better kind of against larger opponents because they can like work like up to them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, where it's very like believable that like the plumber was just like kicking his ass for a long time, and
Yes.
but like his athleticism kind of allows him to like skirt around it. But I did want to point out in the beginning while Mark Miro and Sable are making their entrance, an usher comes and presents them with a gift from Goldust.
Like an
uh
old-timey bellhop from like a hotel in the 1950s. Like it
no
was
right.
the weirdest thing.
And we don't really get like too much of that, but I feel like it's very much so planting the seed of just like it kind of like it extends on last week when Marlena was just kind of like all over Sable.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just kind of there that's obviously gonna go somewhere soon, but they're just kind of
Mm-hmm.
like giving you little like tidbits that it's coming, you know?
Yeah, they were
Um
scrumptious tidbits. And she just leaves that gift on the floor. And I was like, if it was me and I was close by, I would totally jump the railing and just be like, I'm just curious. She didn't want it anyway. I just want to know what they got her.
Oh, honestly, like I'm sure it's not going to be the last. So we're gonna have to like stay tuned to see what that morphs into because knowing Goldust is just going to be uncomfortable. Like would be my best guess.
I hope it's just a box of glitter. Would
I
seem on brand for him.
so what else happened in that we got to see Betsy the plunger
An
which was
icon, a legend is the moment.
which was just not something I was expecting. I mean, I should have like the wrestling plumber, and I don't know why I expected anything else.
Yeah,
But of course, you know, his little gal pal's named Betsy.
Betsy the plumber.
But I believe during this match, was it this match that we get like the Jerry the King Lawler like line of the
Yeah, I wrote it down.
Let's hit us with it because this
Let me
man
consult my
knows
notes here.
knows no shame.
Well, he was okay. So also the promo for the plumber was literally just him in like a porcelain bathroom, like cleaning hair out of a drain with his whole ass crack out. Like that
Oh,
was the whole promo for the
fully,
wrestling
while
plumber.
like a toilet is just flushing like
Over and
over
over and
and
over.
over.
That was the
And
soundbite.
I was like, I don't think you like needed to nail it over the head. Like the horse is dead. The horse is
The
glue.
hor-
Like,
the
at
horse is
this
already
point.
glue. It was already dead, sent to the factory, came back as
But they're
glue.
just like
Elmer's is
toilet
shaking. Like
sound,
just
toilet sound, toilet sound.
and I didn't know there were so many different types of toilet sounds. Like they ran the whole docket. Good for them. I mean, but I was just like, it's still going. They're still flushing the toilet. But Jerry the King's I don't even remember like the context before, but I just have your belly button is just not as his belly button is just not as close to his spine. It's hard to keep his pants up.
He's talking about he's talking about like that the TL Hopper does like hard work and like he's
Yeah.
like cleaning all these like toilets and like unclogging these drains, and he's like his
Yes.
belly button isn't as close to his spine as it used to be, and you're
It's
just
hard
like,
to keep your pants up.
wow.
What a way to say that. Your belly button's just not as close to your spine. Like really paints a word picture and just I just was like oh my god.
He's just so good at being just so pettily mean.
So he's
Like,
so good at being so terrible.
and then we also get like a kind of like a mid-match promo from Stone Cold,
Yeah.
who's just kind of like he's just talking shit. You I This is very like preliminary Stone Cold.
Mm-hmm.
You're really gonna understand the like prolific shit talker that he becomes.
Thank
Um
God.
Shortly. He's gonna start taking off soon. We're still kind of just like getting to know you. Like
Getting to
like
know all about because they even like they he was like still talking, they just like cut his camera and they're like, okay, you're done, and just went back to the match. And I was like, ooh,
right. And I think
shade.
it really goes to show like that they like don't need to be doing these like mid-match promos because it's so hard to like
Yeah.
focus on this dude like trying to like cut a piece and while like there's like so like at one point like while Steve Austin is talking, like Vince McMahon, who just gives you like the chicken noodle soup of just shouting, like it's just like like what,
Yep.
like he just starts counting a pinfall like in the middle of it and you're like like,
Uh,
I was like, where do I focus?
yeah, like my ADHD was really not thriving in that moment. I was like,
No,
and
oh my
also
god.
the promo for Stone Cold, his face was literally like right here. I was like,
Oh.
it was like
Yeah, no, fully.
just his face.
And he still has that like gash on his lip that's just like got like
Yeah.
stitches in it. So I was just like, I don't need like the ER like view of
I
this.
don't need to diagnose him right now.
No,
I
100%.
don't need to do wound care for him. I'm
Right.
fine.
I'm like about to like spray him with like some
With put some bacitracin on it, sweetie. You'll be okay.
And then so we like conclude that match, and we get a Camp Cornette promo where they just kind of like it is once again just Cornette just like absolutely like running a minute and a half promo on one breath as
One
like
one breath.
I swear to God, before they like cut to this man, he's just like and then just starts
And he's
talking.
like slowly deflates and he like
He's like a little piston, just like you're just like,
he
wow. And you
he's
can
another one that's so good at his job.
he fills his little pocket quite well. And it's crazy because like you see like Vader just like is the only one like first of all he's like groaning or like making just noises the whole time, which is like not it is just like not intimidating out of context because he just like is wearing like just like normal people like clothes that he's like sweat through, and then the other like Owen Hart and the British Bulldog just look like they're like seniors in like a 1986 like high school yearbook like
Yes.
and like it just like
Giving very that.
it's just such a juxtaposition of like these two just like basically like flexing while Vader's just like growling generally at the camera, all the while Cornette is like speaking, like fully having a whole conversation, like trying to like get around Vader's massive like frame. And it's just
Yeah,
like,
like
dude, you
somebody
just look
bring
like
him a
a
box.
like fully, and like Vader, I was like, literally, like get him a pedestal, like for the love
A
of God.
stool, somebody bring it in. There were benches. I don't know. Someone could have done
Vader
something.
just looked like a dad at the gym with a mask on. Like
Yeah.
I was not like, it's not giving the effect that they wanted.
It was
Uh
giving like dad at a wrestling game who takes their son's wrestling like way too seriously, like wears a mask and like is like just more into it than their child is, and
very
it's
very dance
uncomfortable.
moms. Like
Yeah, that yes, 100%. But wrestling dads really uncomfortable.
and like it's just like one of those things where like I feel like WWEF whatever um did a poor job with Vader because I've recently been watching a lot of like older WCW like pay-per-views and he's like believably like menacing because like you don't like you only see him in the context of him like wrecking things like in the ring. Like you don't see him like in like normal people clothes. Like it just like isn't it
Wow.
doesn't, you know what I mean? It just like takes you out of the moment that is like this gargantuan, like he's like 400 like 50 pounds. Like he's a big
It's
dude.
he's so
Um
big.
and he's like very athletic for a big man, which is sick, but you only really need that in the context of like the ring. Like I don't need to
Yeah.
know what Vader's up to in his downtime. Like that's not what I'm looking for. Like I just want that man to just show up, absolutely like annihilate people and then like leave. You know what I
Yes.
mean? Like
Yeah.
very Hulk smash is what I want.
Very Wreck-It Ralph, but I don't need any of the backstory.
100%.
So they flopped on his branding, I guess,
That
a little
I
bit.
believe so, because I just felt like he was just a bigger kind of presence in WCW than when he was in WWF, or at least like what I have seen of
Interesting.
him thus far. Um, which you know happens for various reasons. He might be like overexposed or just like there he's not the focal point, so they have to like do something with him because he's like too big of an asset not to use. But like,
Mm, interesting.
mhm. And then after we get this like video package of the Undertaker,
Oh my God.
which
So
is
good.
so good.
It's so
So
freaking
give me your
good.
thoughts. Yeah. I want to hear because you were like audibly like gasping while this was like going on because it was a phenomenal package. Like it is so good. Go
It was
ahead.
so well done. It was like someone was doing like emo slam poetry over the whole montage. It was like
That's the
all
Undertaker speaking.
all right, I loved it. And I at one point I just put the Undertaker montage video welding because at one point they just showed him like welding. Like it was so all over the place, but somehow so cohesive because there'd be like wrestling shots and then he'd be like welding and then it would be like the urn with the glow through it. Like it was like all the dark colors, the crow, like then there was like the him like in the streets. Like I don't know, there was so much. Then there was also like little tidbits and add-ins of mankind who scares the shit out of me. And it would just be his little like maniacal laughing creepy thing and I'd be like, ugh. But like it was somehow like I said, so all over the place but so cohesive.
Hmm.
But I was just like I don't even it was overwhelming.
It's yeah, it did like it accomplished a few things. It Undertaker is one of those people like is one of those characters that like people were like genuinely afraid of. Like
Yeah.
when you like see him for like the first time, you're like I'm uncomfortable. Like that dude is scary because he represents like death essentially. And
I
nothing is
love that.
scarier to like children than like your Grim Reapers, you're like, you know what I mean? And he's very much like that kind of esque character. So that I feel like the video package like served a couple things where one, it continues the feud with Mankind because that's nowhere close to being done.
Yeah, he was
And
like slamming the coffin with a crowbar at one point. And I was like,
yeah, and
wow.
so a lot of those like welding or like what is like his like work like as an Undertaker, like building coffins and like
Oh,
like gravestones and like stuff like that. So
incredible.
where they got a lot of that from is Paul Bearer, the guy that it used to work as a mortician. So he
Right.
gave them a lot of like backstory and like know-how as to like how to do it and how to make it look very realistic so that they could
Mm.
like then incorporate it into into storylines and just general
I
kind of the aesthetic. um
love attention to detail like that.
it's
Like the
fantastic.
attention to detail.
it's
Incredible.
and like it's just so well done because it's just like because we've seen kind of the Undertaker getting like not on this like tear that he normally is on, because they're building up like Mankind to be like this like rival for him.
Mm.
But it very much like served the purpose of be like, don't forget who I am. I will absolutely destroy anything in my path if it comes to it. You know what I mean? And like it was just so well done that like it was worth waiting the extra week that like because it was supposed to air like apparently the week prior because they had like said it.
Oh,
It was worth the extra week. I was like
so worth it.
just holding on to like the seat of my pants. It was fantastic.
It was so good, like top to bottom, just
Mm.
A plus.
He's somebody that is just like who is like at the top of their game for so long that
Mm.
like it becomes like he becomes like bigger than like himself. Like he's just like he wrestles for like 30 years essentially, probably, yeah, in the 30-year like mark like area, and is committed to his character the whole time. So like it'll change, like you'll see the Undertaker character like he gets a lot like more like satanic at one point. He becomes like this like biker dude at some point, but like it all just like he commits so hard to every version of the Undertaker that like he just like his aura becomes like his reputation precedes him. Like you hear the
Mm.
Undertaker and you're like, oh, it's gonna be great. Like that like it's in good hands because he's involved in it.
Oh my God, I
Um,
love that.
all right, so we had our last match, which was Billy Gunn versus HBK, which was also another really great match. But I like,
Oh,
um, so things I wanted to like point out. This is for the WWF title. Again, we have Sunny doing her thing on the outside, but Billy Gunn like still wrestles today. Like
what?
yeah, he wrestles in AEW like today. He's mostly like in like kind of like a manager like role. But him and his sons wrestle. His sons are currently the AEW tag team champions, like right now. So like, and
Wait,
this
which
is like
ones are they?
they call themselves the Guns or the Gun Club.
That is so cute.
Yeah, they're like it's a whole thing. But
I
like
love that.
so like that's another thing that's like really impressive because like he's like probably in his like mid 20s at this point in like 1996. So to be wrestling in 2023 still is beyond me. Like how his
God
body is held up,
bless.
I will never know. But it was a great match. It was a great like back and forth match. But
Oh,
like not to discredit like Billy Gunn, but Shawn Michaels can have a great match with a broom and like
100%.
and
With Betsy the Plunger, nailed it.
you'd pay you'd give your hard-earned
Top
money to
dollar.
see it. So I also like wanted to point out about like the costuming. Who was just like for Shawn Michaels when he like comes out, who was like, you know what, this man needs assless chaps. You know,
Oh, I'm
like,
saying.
you know what? There's just not enough of. I was like, what homosexual was consulted for this
No,
outfit?
swear. I'm literally, I
Like,
want to get on the phone with the costume department right now because like I have so many questions and it's all from a place of reverence. Like I just absolutely love what they do. He puts earrings on to just walk out because it's not like he wrestles in them. And every time I watch so closely, because I'm like, who takes the earrings? I want to know whose job it is to take the
just
earrings
hold the earrings.
and just like
Thank
were
you.
the best. And they gave him the Juicy Couture sweatsuit special. He had the Heartbreak Kid in that little heart on his butt, and I was like, did this?
Oh yeah, and like I like literally got so distracted thinking about his outfit.
Me, that's the point.
But yeah, so that match is phenomenal. Shawn
so
Michaels
good.
like ends up like retaining, but it was kind of the first time you got to see like the like Shawn Michaels like sequence, which is like the kip up, which is like when he like is laying down and like jumps up. And then you also get like the flying elbow that he's like his is just like a thing of beauty, and then followed by like the sweet chin music, which is the super kick that he does like at the end, and that's like that is like his bread and butter. That man does that sequence like you're enthralled every time it happens. Like
I was.
Yeah, and then we get to this like after match like promo where Shawn Michaels goes and meets up with Ahmed Johnson just like backstage, where they then get like I guess like I don't know if Cornette like dumps like hot coffee on him or like soda and whatever, but then they end up like getting like run into the like backstage area where they're getting jumped by Cornette's little groupies.
They literally got jumped by the dumpsters, like literally, like at after school at the dumpsters. Like,
and then you just see Psycho Sid just like absolutely like just like crash into like fully, just like crash into like pallets, like just.
I literally screamed. I was because it was already like okay, he got
it's chaotic.
90s rom-com, water thrown in the face, or like a telenovela, water thrown in the face, and then gang fight at the dumpsters. And then I was like, it can't get any greater than this. And then Psycho Sid literally just crashes a car into the whole thing and then jumps out. There was like an escape. And it happened in the last 30 seconds and it just ended. And I was like,
It just left you like wait. What
just happened? Come back. Did anyone record it on their phone? Send me the blurry phone recording of the fight.
1996.
Like send me the blurry video of the fight.
Their phones were just like bricks, like if they had them, like
crazy.
So that is all setting up for the like international incident pay-per-view, which we are going to watch next, and it's going to be kind of the topic of our next episode. So hit me with what was your favorite match? You already mentioned your least favorite match was the first one. So hit me with your favorite match, and then anything that kind of just like stood out to you that you kind of want to see more of, or like that's piqued your interest for what on the pay-per-view is exciting to you.
Well, okay, so my favorite match was the last one. I mean, it was just like both of them were really like just so good. Also the part where Shawn Michaels just kissed Sunny on the mouth, like
we completely like just glanced over that. So Sunny hops up on the apron like doing her like manager thing, and Shawn just like plants one on her twice. Like twice. And he's like, you know what, you won't shut up, fine, like
I'll make you shut up.
No,
and 100%. Everyone was like,
yeah, exactly. You're like, I wish it was me.
Oh my god! But then it was like weird because they said it was like they called Sunny a whore without calling her a whore because they were like,
oh my god,
he was like, I bet she liked it, and it was like, ah.
and then you remember it's 1996.
Yeah, you're like uncomfortable, a little itchy feeling.
No, yeah, especially Jerry the King Lawler this episode like could not get over Sunny, but I think it was because like he had so much time with her out there because she was out there for 2 of the 3 matches.
Yeah.
So like he had nothing but time to just be a weirdo about it.
Yeah, it was a lot. Extra thirsty. But that was my favorite also because I love the move where Shawn Michaels crunched what's his name's nuts against the pole. That was intense.
Oh yeah, when he like pulls his legs through the
yeah, I was like, don't do it. So that was great. But I feel like the pay-per-view, I just want to see everything. I want to see all the drama, like especially because I really want to see the Undertaker again.
Oh, he's gonna be facing Goldust.
Okay, yeah, I really want to see that because also I want to see, is it Marlene? Is that her name? What is it?
Marlena.
Marlena. Oh, I love her. She never says a damn thing except she just toots on her little cigar, and I just love that for her. And Goldust freaks me out in a weird way, but I
Oh
really
yeah,
want to see that
but
match.
yeah, he wants you to be freaked out. That's his like his bread and butter.
He's nailing it.
All right, guys, thank you for joining us. You're gonna catch us next week where we're gonna be reviewing a pay-per-view for the first time.
So
So
exciting.
that's gonna be fun. This has been the New to Wrestling podcast. Thank you, Kelsey. And we will catch you next week.
We'll see y'all soon.